And good morning, everyone. Yes, 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 we have Jerome D here with us again. Welcome, Jerome. This is the Neuro Wednesdays. How
Good
are you doing
morning,
today?
Dee. How are you doing? Thank you very much for having us today, as every Wednesday. Very excited. Beautiful week. First Wednesday of month of May. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I have the big move coming on Friday, so hopefully all the stress about the house move and stuff is going to be over very soon. And I'm looking forward to my new place where I'm not going to have the stairs to climb up and down all the time because it's all single story. So that's going to be a huge positive.
That's beautiful. Finally,
Yes,
patience
I know.
is paying off. You're gonna be
Yeah,
so much relieved.
it's been a long journey. We put our house on the market in September. We sold it in January, and because the UK is a bit messed up with the house selling process, it's completely insane, very archaic. And I feel kind of like everybody else is benefiting apart from the seller of the house. So it's a very strange situation. But, anyways, let's carry on. What are we doing today? You have some awesomeness again with the neuroscience and neurotherapy. So, talk to me.
Beautiful. So today is gonna be perhaps, well, I always say that, but we always ending late, sort of. So it should be a lighter session. So today will be so I'm gonna present five sort of personas we have in trading, how to how to overcome them or go with them or welcome them, and in the end we're gonna go through a visualization that people could use for trading or for their personal life in therapy. So yeah, just to put a context in for people who join us for the first time, we are joined by our incredible host, Coach Deeyana, who's been in the market for I don't know how many years, but 15 at least, I guess. That's
18,
what I
18,
recall.
but
18. Here we go. Sorry about that. And myself, I'm Dr. J. Jerome D. From Lyon, France. I'm a PharmD doctor specialized in neuroscience and neurology, specifically neurodegenerative disease and cognitive disease such as Alzheimer, Parkinson's disease, SLA. And so basically, I've been fascinated by the psychology of success and neurophenomenology events. So how things get processed in our mind, in our brains. And I've been trading for 2 years now. In July, it's going to be 2 years with Topstep. I'm a live-funded trader at Topstep. Very, very happy and satisfied. And I'm not the best trader. I'm not the best mental guy either, but I have strong skills that I built over time that helped me have strong resilience and low emotional volatility. And that helped me a lot in my trading. And so, speaking with Coach Deeyana, we ended up creating this session on Wednesdays so we could help people understand how our brain work and how it impacts in trading and how trading impacts our brain. How do we react after a win? How do we react after a loss? How can get solve? How can we solve problems? How can we get trapped into thinking we solve the problems, etc. So if this is your first time, these slides or shared on the Topstep's Discord. You will have the channel posted in the YouTube chat, and also you can get all the previous session in the replay of the channel. So it's like a sort of course we've been building, and we've started with the sort of fundamentals. So there's a lot of concepts of knowledge sort of that has been gone through in the previous sessions, and you might not necessarily grasp them or understand them today. So feel free to ask questions and feel free to get through the previous sessions during the week or the weekend. So
it's
is
beautiful.
this clear? Does anybody
It's
have any questions before starting?
I'm sure they will have questions. I'm just going to sell Jerome, selling yourself short there a little bit. You're going, I'm not the best trader. You were top five on that big board at one point, and that's just a testament of your ability to apply your current skills to something completely different. To be able to reach top five, or even top 50 and top 100, excuse me. I've got frogs in my throat, of course. And That's a huge accomplishment in such a short time. You know, in the first 2 years of my trading, I had success, but I kind of took it slow. So I was building my account over a 2 year period from basically nothing, from 2K all the way up to 250K. But it was 2 years. Whereas you managed to get, to run up quite a big balance in a very short space of time, not using crazy risk. That's something that I really respect. And I think that's a huge, huge testament to how calm you are and how much you are working on yourself to connect your expertise in other areas with trading. And that's why I'm so excited to learn from you.
Well, thank you. Can't say anything more. It's a pleasure to be here. I learn every day, learned a lot from you, learned a lot from Topstep. I always say I'm a pure product of the program, and of course I make mistakes every day. So I'm improving, getting better, at least starting and trying to get better. So yeah, this is our way to help you not getting trapped by the mind's traps, which are real.
Absolutely. We actually have somebody asking. It's an FAQ, I would say, at this point. Hard Deep says, I controlled myself for 7 days, had a payout after blowing at least 15 XFAs from November until now, and lost my account on the 8th day from balance of 2,700. Same problem again, over positioning, got biased. How to control this?
Thank you for this question, Hardip. This specific case will be gone through later in the session on a specific slide. So Hardip, if you stay with us, feel free to stay on and feel free to react when we'll go through this. I will let you know.
So just a quick question. It's going to be something to do with visualization and replacing whatever the self-sabotage Hardeep is going through. Am I
No, not
right?
necessarily. For example, you
Really?
have after blowing an account, after a big win followed by a bigger loss in the middle of a losing streak. So we'll get through it right there.
Okay, I'll just shut up. Take the
No,
stage,
no,
Jerome.
please don't, please don't, please don't. So let us present to you the five personas we trade with. So we have the fixer. So it's of course speculative. It's just to have concrete understanding of what's happening. So we have the fixer, the performer, the historian, the fear watcher, and the observer. The observer, we've mentioned it a lot of times. So for each persona, each and every persona, we have a sort of signature voice, a situation when they show up, typical behaviors, body clues, we've spoke about them, reset cues, and key practices we suggest today. So the fixer is when you have the voice in your head telling you, I need to make it back now. How many of you have listened, have heard that in your head? And the situation these personas show up usually is after a loss, after a missed trade, or after an emotional event. That could be FOMO, for example. So usually when you have this situation and you tell yourself, oh, I need to make it back now, you tend to get into revenge trades, you tend into getting oversized trades, you tend into getting like urgent clicks. You make trades you wouldn't have done you if you were not in this mindset, right? So how can you identify this? Because, oh, Jerome, it's great, you're telling me how am I bad, what state am I in, but how can I identify this without you? Then if you find yourself with a tight jaw, with a fast breath, agitated hands, then you know you are in this state. So you have to understand urgency is different from clarity. And so all the key practices you see on the right column, we will go through them later. So this is a slide you will come back to later after this session. So don't necessarily try to understand the column key practice now, you will understand it later. So there's a 5-10-5 reset technique with breathing, 5 second, 10 second, 5 seconds. So it's basically a 20-second like reset, and we'll go through it. So the second state is the performer, the 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 state of mind that leads you to perform into winnings or perform into losing. And you should always put process over performance. So let's say you have a win streak. Don't mess up your streak. You don't trade for the trade. You trade for the streak, the performance. So it could be after a win streak. It could be trading in public. So let's say you get on TopstepTV. You're like, oh, I'm in front of tens of thousands of people. I got to put a winning trade on, and
I've
this
struggled with
puts
that.
pressure on.
I
Exactly.
struggle with that. Yeah. Because
Exactly.
you're
I
gonna get
do as
so
well.
much hate in the chat if you put on a trade that doesn't work, and it's like, come on. I have long-standing accuracy of only 43%, but because of my high risk reward and the ability to hold trades, it just works out over time. But I know every time I lose a trade, people are gonna be like, ah, damn, I'm always losing. Well, yeah, I lose more than I win. It's like, you will see me lose, and it took me probably about, I don't know, a year to get over that pressure. I was even like super nervous anytime was going on, and I had a really good run, and then I hit a rough patch, and it was very public. So obviously that was very stressful. And I'm an overachiever. I definitely fall into that category. So it's never pleasant. But I was very upfront with the audience, and I just said, look, if you have a problem with me losing trades, get ready, because you're going to see me lose a lot. And I think explaining the accuracy and the idea behind all of that, it made me more at ease, but it really wasn't easy.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I felt exactly the same things for the first weeks on TopstepTV.
Yeah.
And like when you take a position, people are commenting, etc. But just need to detach yourself, right? So
Yeah.
uh, typical behaviors, as you mentioned, is over control or scared execution. Oh, I want to take the trade, but what are they going to think about it? What are
Yeah.
they going to say? You avoid being wrong while
Yeah.
you're wrong 2 out of 3 times, right? So why
Yeah.
should you avoid being wrong? It's part of the process. So
Yeah.
you can have a frozen posture, like ice. You can have
Yeah.
your
Deer in the
lifted shoulders.
headlights.
Exactly. You can have a head tension or heartbeat fast, and pressure is ego. It's not presence, right? So when you acknowledge it, when you understand it, it's different. So the suggestion today is third person self-talk and chart strip down. So we'll go through it later, of course. So the third persona is the historian. I love it. So this is the guy who knows everything about the past. So this looks like that time I lost in 2002 when this happened and blah, blah, blah. And so we talked about this last time, right? When we trade from emotional memory and how emotional memory shape our future. Forget about trading, emotional memory in life shape your future as well. That's what we use in therapy. So when setups trigger past trauma or failure recall, you trade from this emotion. You don't trade from presence. So you can have over avoidance. You do not act. It's beyond freezing. You hesitate a lot. You make early exits. So you don't. It's not about having a runner even. It's exiting prior to what you should or would have exited before.
So not
You
following the process, but simply being afraid and, painting the picture of what happened last time and what happened that time, and then just either not taking a trade or in a trade, but then you're afraid and then you kill the trade for no reason whatsoever. Been there.
exactly. And so you can find your hands not agitated, for instance, but cold. If you touch your palms, you can have cold hands. You can have flashback thoughts. Oh, I remember exactly this setup, but this is not that trade. I mean, the same situation doesn't define the same thing.
Yeah.
So the practice suggested is the relabeling drill. So we'll go through it, and present self anchoring. Anchor yourself to the present moment. And then the fourth one is the fear watcher. So this is the individual who, after a recent loss or recent losses, huge volatility or a dip in confidence would say, maybe wait, it might go wrong again. Let's wait. It might do this, it might do that. And finding certainty in place where it's not needed. And so you freeze, it's the analysis paralysis, or this could lead to paralysis analysis also. It works in both way. You can get paralyzed from analyzing, and you can get paralyzed in your analyzing, because you are paralyzed but your body is paralyzed, right? So you talk yourself out of clean setups. Oh, we have a higher low, lower high, we broke setup, we retested, we had confirmation. Like you break out everything, but you don't click. You you just watch, right? You just watch. And you have a couple of body clues for that. You can have a shallow breath, you can twitchiness, like agitated but not the same. But fear is not a signal, right? It's a state. So you have the action ladder plus what I like, the small position entry. And then we have the grail, let's say, the observer. So this is calm and presence. So this is when you tell yourself, and I swear some people might think that now. I know Bruno, our moderator, starts to think this way because he's been applying these concepts and it's working very well in his trading. And you can find yourself, tell yourself, wait, watch. Oh, okay, now breathe, come back to breathing. Act cleanly. Okay, am I focused? Okay, check. Okay, check. Let's go. And these show up when you are regulated. Remember, real method, regulation, envision, align, and learn. So after regulation, after a calm preparation, you can practice meditation, you can practice breathing, you can practice body posture, you can drink water, you can apply many of the suggestions or advices we've been through for the last 1.5 months. You can practice detachment, and this will lead to these signature voices. And basically, when you are in this state, you will follow your process. You will cut clean. You will exit in green or red, but in a clean manner. Your trades will be light and focused. Discipline shouldn't feel heavy. We've been through that, right? Discipline shouldn't feel heavy. And so you have a relaxed jaw, a slow blink. You don't blink like fast. If you find yourself blinking faster than usual, let's say, that means you are not in calm. Know that. So if you can know you have a slow blink, a calm chest breath, spine straight, you are calm, then you are present. And you can tell yourself, this is what I trained for. I trained for the process. I trained for this mental consistency. And so you have your future self visualization and observer affirmation. So this is the map of the minds behind the mouse click. Okay, who's trading right now? We've explained previously that we trade from state, not from logic. Like every individual decision we make in our lives, it has to choose one out of two, emotion or logic. And so who's trading right now? Is it emotional or is it logical? So now let's make the cake, right? So after a huge loss that wiped out weeks of work, how do you act? So let's call it the fixer protocol realigned, because after a huge loss that wiped out weeks of work, usually people get into the fixer mode. Oh, I need to make it back now, and then they get into this spiral, and they are back into funded. They get a payout or not, but they blow the accounts again later. They wipe out the profits. They just repeat the cycles because they don't know how to get out of this loop.
Out of the cycle, yeah.
So exactly. So we suggest 4 simple steps. So step 1, label the mode. I'm in fixer mode for this example. My clarity is compromised. Remember, in fixer mode, if you check reset queue, urgency is different from clarity. So you have to acknowledge that your clarity is biased, right? So tell yourself, my clarity is compromised. And trust me, it will make difference mentally. Step
It's
two,
difficult. I think it's very difficult for someone who hasn't done this process before to take a step back and to effectively pause and then go, hold up, my clarity is compromised. So do you think that's the toughest first step, the self-awareness?
yes, thank you for putting it that way. Awareness is the first step in therapy we use as well. So it's the
Yeah,
toughest, yet very simple. Simple doesn't mean easy, of
yeah.
course. It's a very tough task, difficult, yet very simple. That's why we are committed here to help people go through these concepts and understand. So, with you know, every session we do with Coach Deeyana is a piece of a puzzle. We're not saying we discovered hot wire, but today is a segment, so it's a piece of a puzzle. But the puzzle isn't empty. We started this like a month, 2 months ago, so you got pieces previously, and we can't unfortunately give you back the pieces we've gone through because we would have to do a 24-hour stream, you know. So I
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
glad
it
to
would
do it, but
never
it's gonna be
end.
exactly. But practically speaking, it's gonna be hard. So just go back to the previous sessions, and you're gonna be able to build what Coach Deeyana emphasized: awareness. Build awareness. It's
Yeah.
the first door you have to know first, to
If there's
visualize.
ever a holy grail in trading, it would be the self-awareness part, for sure.
Exactly. Thank you. So once you get this first step, you can get into the second, the 3 minute trade lockout. So you use the 5-10-5. We spoke about reset. What is the 5-10-5? 5 seconds, eyes closed. Okay, close your eyes for 5 seconds, and then for 10 seconds, you just do finger movement plus breathing. Whatever finger movement naturally comes to you, you just do finger movement, and you focus on inhaling deeply, slowly, progressively with the nose and exhaling with the mouth. And then you make the 5 seconds verbal line. One loss does not define 3 weeks of discipline. You know this, but you gotta repeat this to yourself. And then that's it. That's the 5-10-5. Then you go to step three, what we would call the micro debrief. So ask yourself 3 questions and write them, please. What was the decision process? What internal voice pushed the entry? And what rule did I override? There's no right or wrong answers. There's only reflection and learning. Remember the real method we suggested: regulate, envision, align, and learn. So you need to reflect to learn, you know? See, if you don't reflect, you won't learn. If you won't learn, you won't evolve. So step four, the mini rebuild plan. So you have micro and mini, like the assets. So the mini rebuild plan is you do whatever with that, whatever fits you. This is my personal suggestion, what I do. So I trade at, well, I don't wipe out weeks of work, but you got my point. I trade at 50% of your usual size and no scaling up for at least 24 hours. That will like cool yourself down. That will lower the heat, you know, the intensity. And then
Yeah.
whenever you feel safer to go back into your normal trenches, then go back into it.
I would also say that with any kind of a mistake that leads to a blown up account, you get this shaken confidence and you damage your mindset effectively. So what that means is that when you are trying to rebuild that, you need to work on repairing your mindset. At that point, it's not about profits. You have bigger issues, right? And I do agree you need to have the less size. Uh, but in my experience, 24 hours might not be enough just from what I've seen in my coaching. So what we usually do is to go down to minimal size and then to effectively do excellent setups, but kind of scratching trades. So just to get a little bit of that confidence back that you can go for like 1 week without blowing up or digging an even bigger hole for yourself. Many people do the opposite. They buy another account and then they size up massively. I think that's far more damaging to any other activity, because you're not repairing the mindset. You're just going back and doing exactly the opposite to what you should be doing. But if, like Jerome, you're fairly controlled, but maybe you made some mistakes and now your confidence is a little bit shaken up, 50% cutting of the size and 24 hours will be enough. But I would say the less self-aware the trader is, this process takes a bit longer, unfortunately. So yeah, if you are, somebody who understands the reasons behind it, you're not freaking out, you don't default to buying another account and sizing up. You just kind of, oh, I made a mistake. That wasn't the best idea. You dug yourself a bit of a hole. 24 hours more than enough, but it's more for more experienced traders. I would say, sadly.
Yes, thank you again. That's why I put at least. Some
Yeah.
people should need more. If I put for at least a week, people would say, "Wow, a
Yeah, they'll
week?
be like,
You don't want me
what?
to
Oh
trade for a
no.
week?"
Yeah.
No, that's not
But
what I
it's only
said.
one
But
week. Like, if we want to trade for many
exactly.
years and many decades, what's a week?
But a week in the trading multiverse is 7.5 years. So
It's like dog years. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
I love that.
So now in the same philosophy, let's say, of progression, after blowing an account, I call it the rebuilder protocol, but call it however you want. After blowing an account, people want to make it back as well. They have this fixer mindset, which is slightly different, but yet it has common traits. So step one, again, it's awareness. Acknowledge the weight. I lost capital, but I didn't lose the capacity, the skill to rebuild, right? This is something we tend to forget. What you accomplish in life, once you are able to accomplish it an infinite number of times. Know that this is proven. But it's this concept has been used in sport. Like there are so many examples of that in sports performance. So in trading, it's exactly the same. So once you get back into, okay, yeah, okay, I lost, but I didn't lose myself, right? I lost the trade. So step two, re-anchor your identity. So record a voice note or write a short note from your future self. Here is how I rebuilt. Here is what I learned. And if you take the habit of doing this, you will notice interesting things, very interesting things. And I can only explain to people who've practicing it. Otherwise, it won't make sense. So the first step is the short-term reset, and this is for 72 hours at least, for instance. So you do at least, so you do the amount you want, but you do one trade review per day. One identity building action. So that could be gym, that could be journaling, that could be walking, that could be mentorship, that could be music, that could be sport, but the perception, the intention, the manner of act, the PIM, the focus, the leading has to be identity building action. And avoid jump back in mode. Okay, whether it works or not, sometimes it will work, but that will only reinforce bad habits. Understand that. It took me a hell lot of time to understand that. And after understanding it, acknowledging it, like accepting it, telling myself, okay, yeah, I know that. Okay, I've been knowing that for 3 months. Why didn't I change it, right? And I had to sit down and go through this process myself, and now I feel better. And the final step is the strategic return timeline, and this is linked to what we said previously. So create your re-entry plan. Every time I lost before being profitable, I took 3 months break. 3 months, not 3 days, not 3 weeks, not 1 month, whatever, 3 months. And I'm not telling you to take 3 months. I'm telling you to take the time you need. There's no right or wrong. There's no short or long period of time. As Coach Deeyana said, 1 week feel so long for people. Yeah, but why? Perception. You feel like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm going to miss the market. But no, come back. The market is going to be here. Don't worry about it. The market was here. The market will be here with or without us. You will miss opportunities. Yeah, but guess what? There's opportunities every single day, almost, right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
stepping back, for everybody who done it, they witnessed that they've been able to re-anchor themselves back into who they were. And that helped me to get back into the observer mode, right? Before being profitable, I was all the four first personas, but the last one. And taking break after break after break helped me to temporarily get into the observer mode and then go back into fixer, performer, historian, or fear watcher, then getting knocked out of the ring again, observer mode, and like, okay, I gotta put back this observer mode while I'm trading, not when I blew, right? So it's been a whole process. It took a lot of time, but today that's where I'm at. But trust me, whoever is listening to this, I was where you are or where you were 1 year ago, like 14 months ago. I was unprofitable, and I'm not saying I'm wow profitable now. Of course, thanks God, I made well decent amount of money, but trust me, it didn't come overnight. The
And
best decision. Sorry.
sorry, it's also not a linear process. It's not like
Exactly.
one day you wake up and you're like, wow, yes, I'm profitable. It usually happens in a haphazard way. So you have a period of being profitable, then you mess it up, then you're kind of profitable again. And then unfortunately, that cycle never fully ends. Nobody is profitable all the time, right? You will always have a month where things are not quite working out, or even 6 months, or even a year where things are not quite working. But as long as you're working to find out what the reason behind it, this kind of like underperformance is, you will be okay. You know, just remember that if you got there once, you have a process that even partially works. That's a good thing. So you need to build on that and refine it over time. And there will be a moment. There will be a moment. Not tomorrow, not in a week's time, not in 3 months, but there will be a moment where you wake up and you realize that you haven't made many mistakes, and therefore your profit curve, your equity curve, is going to be generally moving in the right direction. So it's about fishing for your trading gremlins and slowly getting rid of each one whilst you're refining your strategy. That's what trading is. It's not like, oh, I'm profitable now, I'll never lose again. It's like, I wish, right?
Exactly. Perfectly put again. And there's a hot take, a sort of unpopular opinion. I mean, it's popular, but people don't want to acknowledge it. Most of retail traders, which we are. Uh, which one is better? Taking a payout within a time window of 3 months or not taking a payout? This is a tricky question. In the first case, you might get funded within 1 or 2 months. It will feel very slow, very low self-satisfying, and very low dopamine like, because the PNL is not high, because the progression, kinetic, dynamic behavior, momentum is very slow. You don't get funded in 2 days, you don't get funded in 1 week, blah, blah, blah. Once you get funded, you get to pay out within 1 or 2 months. You don't get payout within five days like most of you guys are trying to. So 99% of people who fail to get a payout, this is because they try to get a payout within the first month
Too
of
quickly, yeah.
funded. And so I've asked that to people I help, I coach, and most of them who didn't have a payout or who were trying to rush a payout ended up getting a payout with hitting $200-300 a day times 20. It's like 4-6K a month, instead of trying to make 5K a week with 1K trade a day, you know. And so they changed the math, they changed the perception, and they changed their behavior of trading, you know. Trading is a beautiful activity, but it's one, if not the most difficult activity to generate huge profits in a small period of time. But what do you prefer, $200 or zero? No, people prefer 0 or 2000. People have a go big or go home mentality. But
Yeah,
the truth is,
extremes.
m-
Hmm.
yeah,
I
but
have to
the
be a
truth is,
millionaire or I'm not ever going to make any money. It's like there is a middle ground there, you know. You can like make 5, 10K a month and you know, you're not exactly going to be a millionaire, but it's going to allow you to have more resources in life. Like why don't we shoot for that first before we're like, I need to make 100,000 in a month. And look, sometimes you see people making that money. There are people out there, but you don't know their story. They might be on their chapter 20. You, on the other hand, might be on your chapter 1 or 2. It's not, you know, it's not the same level of skill. It's like trying to sign up for the Olympics, but you haven't qualified anywhere in your sports discipline. However, you're shooting for the Olympics. It's like there's a progression, there's steps to take. We have to learn how to crawl, then walk, and then we run, and then we compete in the Olympics or we run marathons and stuff. So, you know, people try to go from zero to hero immediately, yesterday. They want to be there yesterday, never mind tomorrow, right? And that's a big problem. You know, stop rushing, relax, and don't shoot for the extremes. And then you're actually going to get there much, much quicker, bizarrely.
exactly. Thank you. You put it perfectly. Build yourself. Do
Yeah,
you think I became a doctor in a single year? No. Do you think doctors
exactly.
become doctors in a single year? No. They build foundations, and trading is the same. I started becoming profitable with micros, and when I started having a mathematical structural edge, I scaled up. And then when I was in my live account, it changed because you don't have the same daily loss limit, you don't have the same cushion, right? So I had to scale down. Guess what? My ego took a hit. I was like, wow, I'm trading NQs. Why should I go back to MNQs? I'm a live trader, right? That's what your brain thinks. And then had to go through this process. Okay, I'm losing, winning, losing, winning. It's choppy. What do I prefer? Spending mental capital and roughly not making money or roughly making money, or spending less mental capital, growing up into improving my edge and structural execution, and makes money 100%. So I choose the second one. It's well slower. Perhaps in a single day, you can make my monthly profit. Yes. But let's compare a quarter PNL, for example, or monthly PNLs. And again, it's not about comparison, it's about your edge. My days are, and I thank God every day, or not all of them, but 3 or 4 out of the 5 trading days of the week, or very calm, present, well, they go well, and I'm very happy and delighted and satisfied with following the process, right? And that's very fulfilling. Like that's when you grow up as an individual. When you get fulfilled by your activity, that's when you grow up. And most of people, they feel trading and they experience trading as a pain because it is painful to lose. We've been through that, right? A financial pain and financial loss, sorry, in the brain and the body physiologically is felt, perceived, and processed as a physical pain. And it's been talked about. We tend to avoid pain, but we are built by pain as well because we process pain and we tolerate pain. So that's why an army vet would dislocate his shoulder and instantly put it back. While if I dislocate my shoulder, I will go to the ER instantly. So it's just
Yeah,
uh,
I did dislocate my shoulder not too long ago. I actually fell down the stairs. I didn't just pop it back in. I didn't even realize it was that dislocated. And then again went to the you know, emergency center. They did some scans. It was super painful. And you know, I was miserable for, you know, for a while. But if somebody is used to those kind of injuries, their pain tolerance builds, and then they don't suffer as much, and they can get back to normal activities. I'm a mess, you know. So it's all down to building yourself up to be a stronger person. And in our case,
exactly.
it's about emotional resilience.
Sorry for your shoulder. Hope it's better, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's
it's
like
fine. It's healed up now. All good.
sure. It's like rugby players as well. So rugby
Yeah,
players, like they often do that. We catch this on video, so it's fascinating.
yeah,
Um, so
it's
now,
crazy.
uh, yeah. So now after a big win followed by a bigger loss, we spoke about that last week, but today we wanted to share the tilt diffusion protocol. So you can use it in a different situation as well. But basically, step one, again, recognition awareness. So pattern recognition. This is post-win overconfidence flipping into tilt. Because when we big win, we have a tendency to have this goat mode, overconfidence mode. We spoke about it last week, precisely in last
I
week's
am
session.
the wizard. It's like, no, you're not.
Exactly, exactly. It's a known cycle, right? And then step two, you activate the observer. Talk in third person. We talked about this last. Oh, what's yourself? He's chasing. Oh, she wants to protect the win. Look at her. Look at her. And then you will get instantly into meta shifting, meta awareness, observing yourself. And then step three, you can have this in session reset that gets enabled. So you pull up a product you don't trade at all. Okay. You observe and name three neutral structures. Oh, higher low, lower high, support resistance, whatever. And just neutral. And you let the emotion cool, let's say, lower without detachment. And so this is more powerful than you might think. Just test it and you will see how a shift it builds in the brain. And so instantly after that, you make a debrief, post-close debrief. So what, I mean, not instantly after, but not in the moment, but after the moment. So what internal shift occurred after the win? What did you feel? Perhaps nothing, but ask yourself the question. What perhaps you will practice this for 5 times, it will not change anything, but the sixth time, wow, something magic happened. And the second question you ask yourself, you should ask yourself, is what belief or emotional reward was I chasing on the loss? And then you need guardrails. So you do whatever you want. This is my way of doing it again. So trade at 50% size and 2 trade limit max. I do even 1, but I advise 2 max. So you can add a post-win mantra before each click. Streaks or not safety, clarity is.
So
And
what
just
what would you
repeating this.
say? So what would
Yeah.
you say to people who are like, well, I trade 100 trades a day. How am I going to have a 2 trade limit? This was actually a question I got from someone.
What is your identity? If your identity is 50, 100 trades a day, does your performance dashboard reflect your identity? And are you happy with it? Satisfied? If not, then you should perhaps change your identity. Not speaking about
Interesting.
technicals here,
Yeah.
identity again. If you, I mean, scalping is one of the greatest trading strategy, but it's one of the hardest as well, mentally and execution wise. So if you want to be a scalper, you got to know these things, and you got to know that, okay, I have 2 choices. Either I make a few trades a day, or I make a lot of trades a day. But both imply a lot of different consequences, right? And pros and cons. Of course, this is not the topic. We could go through it, but the thing is, we come back to identity as well, because you could be a scalper, take 2 trades a day, 2 wins, or 1 win, 1 loss, or 2 losses, whatever, and walk out. So why do you take more trades? What is the identity you're trying to express? What gap, what hole are you trying to fill? That is the real question. People usually, I think, and sorry, this is not hitting or throwing stones at anybody, but if you make hundreds or thousands trades a day, or if you trade thousands of contracts a day just to end up scratch or break even, you should be studied for science. Like, seriously. Not, seriously. I mean,
Jerome, yes, shots fired. I like
what
that.
is it
I
you
mean,
are
you know,
seeking,
with me, I am on the completely opposite side. Like the most trades that I will do in a day is going to be like anywhere between 5 and 10. And when I do like 10 or 11, 12, I immediately get this idea, wow, that was a lot of work. And yeah, sometimes I get a great day out of it, but it's just the amount of mental capital that kind of day takes. So typically it's going to be a range bound day where there's nothing, nothing else. I can't do a mean reversion. I can't do, momentum trades. There's a continuation. It's not continuing. It's in a range. And, you have to default to scalper mode. I try not to on most days, but sometimes nothing is moving. They're waiting for things. Like, for example, today we have FOMC later on. And it's like, well, okay, now I have to scalp. Oh, God. And I'm immediately like down on myself. Now I have to do more trades today. But generally, when people come to me with, like you say, it's an identity thing. It's like, well, I'm a scalper. Hey, you can be a scalper doing 3 trades per day. But, the scalping is not about the number of trades you do. It's, to me, the length of the trade that you're in and the number of ticks that you take. So if you're in and out, we've seen scalpers on TopstepTV. They don't necessarily take 100 trades a day. They take 3 to 5. So same amount as me, but it's just a different style. So maybe consider changing your identity to that rather than your identity being, I do 100 trades per day. It's a very good point, Jerome. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Meanwhile, Dan P was cracking me up in the chat. Like he said, I'm this specimen. Please study me. And somebody said we will send scientist team to your house, and he said, okay, I'll wait. Meanwhile, I'll work to break even. I love that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And then he said, I'm either a genius or a massive DJ.
Yeah. Love you, Dan P.
Chad.
Love you.
Yeah, I love you, man. It's great.
So now, let's say if you are in the middle of a losing streak, what would be the advice of the neuro team? So that could be the reset and return protocol. People speak about risk reward, RR. We speak about reset and return, RR. So first step, strategic pause without pressure. So you have a losing streak. Tell yourself, not because I can't trade, but because I'm choosing to reset, I'm taking this pause. Pausing doesn't mean you fail. Pausing doesn't mean you are a failure. You don't need to identify to the event, okay? It's just you're choosing to reset. It's like an athlete when they pause, Tiger Woods. Do you know the story of Tiger Woods years ago? So basically, he was at the top leaderboards, right? And then at some point, he ended down the hundreds and then the thousands on the leaderboard, right? And everybody was like, wow, is it the end of Tiger Woods, etc. And so I love this story. I learned it in my first year of neuro studies. So basically, he hired a new coach, and his coach told him, you gotta reset. We gotta erase, delete anything you think you know, and rebuild the foundation, the perception, the knowledge. I was like, yo, what you're telling me? I'm Tiger Woods. Like,
yeah.
How are you telling me I don't know what a golf ball is, right? So he reset it, and his coach told him he's gonna get worse into the rankings, right? So it got worse and worse and worse. But he told him it's gonna take years to build back the foundations. But then guess what? It's gonna grow back up. What happened? I don't remember exactly the year it happened, but I think it's even called the Tiger Woods effect. I mean, this phenomenon, something like that. And so if you Google it, and then he climbed back the leaderboard, right? So it's exactly the same. You need to pause, you need to step back, you need to reset, to reevaluate, and to return, right? So you make an audit of your streak, of what happened. So don't take 100% of the last trades. Take like the last 5-10 trades and categorize within one of the 3. So whether it was an emotional entry, whether it was a process followed trade, or fatigue or distraction driven trade. Sometimes it's not emotional, sometimes it's not process followed, sometimes you were just fatigued, you were just not in the mood, you were distracted from personal life events, stuff like that. And you were just not focused. You're not necessarily emotional, but you were not focused enough. So you were distracted.
Sometimes when I have late appearances on TopstepTV, I've already been up from like 7 a.m. in the morning, getting ready, doing the show for the Euro trade. And then, sometimes it's just a very, very long day. So by the time that we get to my 7 or 8 p.m., that's like already sort of 10 hours of me staring at the charts and, probably even trading for a lot of that time. And then when I get to the last hour and they're like, right, Dee, are you seeing anything? And at that point, my mind is just like, I see nothing. Like I'm done. So this is something that I decided it's not going to affect me because in the beginning of TopstepTV, we were still having very long days, but I felt the pressure to keep finding trades, and then I would find myself totally exhausted at the end of the day. I'm talking so exhausted that my husband would come up to me and is like, hey, do you want a cup of tea? And I would just be looking at him. I would be unable to speak. I would be so tired. And he's like, okay, do you want to watch anything? And I'm like, like literally just dead person, like nothing. So I decided that for me it's fun being on Topstep with all of my colleagues and yourself, and it's great. But if I've already had a very long day, I have removed the pressure on myself to keep finding trades that late in the day. It's like, especially if I've already made my cash or I locked myself out, whatever happened, I decided, and that was probably about 8-9 months ago, where I decided I'm not going to allow that to pressure me into additional trades when my mental capital is not there. Like I'm totally exhausted.
Yeah,
It's a different
sorry to hear
problem.
about that, but it's great also to hear that. Yeah, I mean, we know it. We've been with you for enough time. You have a
Yeah.
lot of skill set built inside of you. So it took years. You built them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
A
now you
long,
know
long
yourself,
time. Yeah.
and you're a superhuman. Beautiful.
I'm not superhuman. I've just been doing this for so long, and I've made so many mistakes. I've made so many mistakes, and this is where my self-awareness comes from. It doesn't come from the fact that, oh, I'm superhuman. No, it's just I've done the same mistakes over and over, and then after a while, you have to ask yourself, going, okay, well, that hasn't worked the last time, so why do you keep doing it? And then you put that in your journal, and next time around you go, hold up, I remember how that went emotionally. I should try and do something different this time. And then I would either go to the gym, if I'm kind of feeling a little bit like let's do another example. Let's say I traded early and I did a couple of losing trades. Nobody likes that, right? Well, when I was a younger trader, I used to just sit there and try to find more and more and more, and that would always end up a disaster. Why? Because I wasn't giving myself a break between the losses to get them out of my system and effectively reset my mind, not the charts necessarily, but just my mind. And these days I trade multiple products. Back in the day, I've got to say that was a bit tougher because you would be staring at the same chart. I really love what you said about doing, like opening up a brand new product that you don't trade and doing a little exercise of analysis on something you've never traded before. But you see, with me, because I've traded a few of them, if I find that I start sucking on any one of them, so let's say I try, I don't know, crude oil, smacks me on the face. Try it again, smacks me on the face. Could be a valid setup, could be not a valid setup, it's irrelevant. But after the 2 losses, I'm just thinking to myself, right, not reading that particularly well. Let's see what, I don't know, platinum is doing. Now, I do have a pretty defined systematic approach, so it's easy for me to see whether there is another setup there or not without much bias. But what it does to me is it almost kind of wipes my brain from the other chart that I'm not reading correctly, if that makes sense. And therefore, when I move to another instrument, it's kind of like fresh eyes, fresh conditions, fresh everything. And, I am a little bit like Drew Barrymore from 50 First Dates, where the previous losses don't really bother me at this point, mostly because they are largely controlled, right? That is the main reason behind it. I'm not the wizard or anything. It's just that I can handle a certain amount of loss that I know is not going to derail my thought process and my emotional state. But yeah, so to me, having a few options to choose from is something that makes me come back from, let's say, a bad London session into the NYMEX or COMEX session, which I trade quite a bit as well. But I do have a break in between. I never go from London straight into NYMEX. I go, all right, London sucked. Let's see if we can get something else. But now I'm going to have a nap. And I usually do yoga nidra. Back in the day when I was able to, I used to go to the gym. So I used to literally just leave the house for 3 hours and then come back. That would completely reset me. Completely. But a nap with yoga nidra guidance does just as well. So it's quite remarkable, really.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And so, well, you did the step 3, like you expressed it. We have other example, but Coach Deeyana shared a lot of their examples. So we call this like nervous system calibration. So after, I don't know, after a concert in music, but after a competition or a training in sport, you don't go back home instantly, right? You have to stretch, you have to detox, you have to, that's the reflection and learning part we get in trading, but you have the same in any other things. And if you don't do it, you carry it forward, right? So you will trade emotional memory, you stick into it if you didn't reflect and learn. So you can use the 5-10-5 reset, the compression release drill. So what is the compression release drill? This is a very powerful thing used in therapy as well, to go from sympathetic physiology to parasympathetic physiology. So basically, you put your arms straight and you hold your fist like very, very strong, okay? You do this for like 10 to 30 seconds. You hold, like you hold it. You create tension as much as possible in your fists, okay? And you just focus on creating tensions and holding stronger with your fists. And then you take a very deep breath, and on the exhale, you open and release your fists. You release all the strength, and doing this instantly shut down the sympathetic system. And so this is what we call the compression release drill.
It's funny, in the Yoga Nidra, there's a session on YouTube by this girl called Ali Boothroyd, and one of them, she uses the same thing but with the entire body. So it's a quicker version of Yoga Nidra, like if you just want to do it for like 20 minutes or so, and then she uses that, but for the whole body, because you're typically lying down, right? And she says to clench all of your muscles, everything, face, everything, and then she holds you in that for like about a few seconds, and then she says, and now breathe out and release. And it's amazing, like how much tension we hold without realizing it sometimes, especially around the shoulders and stuff. When your shoulders are like up like this, that means you're not relaxed either. But we kind of do that exercise and you're like, oh yeah, actually. And then suddenly you become aware of all the tension you held. It is a powerful tool, definitely.
Thank you, completely. You have the visual reset as well, shrink, expand. I will go through it, I think the slide after. And then partial position protocol, so 50% sizing of things like that. And then step 4, return options. Always choose return options and pick, don't prescribe. Like go on sim, whether it's demo, challenge, or funded, with full routine. Take 1 trade a day, A+ setups only, as Coach Deeyana said. So basically, yeah, what is the visual reset drill? I put here, visual reset, shrink, expand. So basically, you shrink the chart window to 25%. You look at white space for 10 seconds, and then you expand again and observe without judgment. It's going to make a quick optical reset. And when you make it like a couple times a day, it creates a sort of structural network. So this slide, there is a sort of appearance typo. So it is missing the trade of the day. So you get FOMO. So you want to reset the FOMO. So we call it the FOMO reset protocol. You missed a trade. You had 1 trade, 1 setup. You waited 2 days, perhaps more, perhaps less, for this setup, this trade. and you're like, damn, at this moment my wife called me, I couldn't take the trade, I hate my wife, I hate my life, and you're like, okay, what do I do? And then the trade is going, and then you enter and you get stopped, and you're like, I knew it, and then toxic loop, right? So
Yeah.
step one, micro reframe. So okay, this might hurt, so tell yourself this hurts, but chasing after missing is a second loss. So do you want this loss? Do you want this?
So the problem
Really
is, I
ask
think
yourself.
people don't think that the second one is going to be a loss, like chasing it. They are hopeful that if they jump right in, that they're somehow going to be rewarded for it. And I'm sorry, but 9 times out of 10, that's not happening. And we have to be more realistic about expecting things from the market, especially if it's already moved a million ticks, you know.
Exactly.
The chances are you're going to get smacked in the face with some sort of a reversion trade. It's just like stats.
Completely. So then you do the visual drill, and step three, the one line journal prompt. So ask yourself and answer. Sometimes we ask without answering. What would I need to feel to still believe I'm a good trader? And don't answer a winning trade. Okay. Answer like uh, constructively to this answer, and seek what is seeking you. Uh, so in step four, you can play back with coaching mindset. Guess what? You don't have a coach, you are your own coach. Watch the trade replay and narrate it like a neutral coach. I mean, try to do it. If you've been through our previous sessions, uh, you'll be able to understand that neutrality is the new alpha. So extract structure, not shame. Shame will not define you. So when you need, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, actually. When I started doing live streams on YouTube many years ago, I found that I can explain the trade better to myself if I'm talking out loud. And then even when I'm not doing streams, I'm still doing that these days. It's like, oh, it's accepting value. So it's on a downtrend. Like, it's almost like being a sports commentator. And it kind of helps to externalize what is happening. So I would actually encourage everyone to do this for themselves. I know that people around you, if they're not traders, they're going to think you're completely gone crazy. But it really helps because you're effectively explaining to yourself out loud what you're seeing, you know? And it's amazing how you can start seeing the actual setup develop more obviously. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's something about talking through a setup and as opposed to keeping it inside your head that clarifies things for you as a trader. I don't know why Jerome, you probably know the reason behind that, but for me, it's always easier to find a trade if I can talk it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I think it was the second, first, and perhaps second, if not third session we've done together. The words we use have an impact in our lives. So the voice you tell, I mean, if the voice in your head is you, who is the one listening to it? And this is not the question people were waiting for, perhaps, but this is a big one, right? And so in trading, it's the same. Uh, what are you listening to? What do you tell yourself? So perhaps you hear something, but you want to tell yourself something else. So speak it out, right? Perhaps you're thinking I'm a loser, but you want to speak out I'm a winner. I'm a process follower. And then guess what? The words you put out will overcome and will win over your brain's ability to trick you, because brain has abilities to trick ourselves. And yeah, that would be my take. Sorry, might have been something different than what the
No,
fundamental
no,
question, but it
I
comes
do
back to
think
this, right?
that yeah, exactly. It comes back to the same issue of telling yourself things that it's kind of, it comes back to Socratic questioning as well. If you say to yourself, "I'm a loser," is that really true? And if you guys don't know what Socratic questioning is basically challenging your self-limiting beliefs in a realistic environment. Say, oh, I'm a loser. Are you really? Take a look at the rest of your life. Do you have any achievements? Have you ever learned a new language? Do you have children? So, I don't think that anyone's a loser, really. Everybody could find something in their life that they're proud of. So why not focus on that rather than letting any single day and, even every single week or a month in trading define who you are as a person? I always found that a little bit silly. We're very harsh on ourselves. Again, we talked about that in some of our previous sessions. But yeah, let's carry on before I go
No,
off
yeah,
on
you
a
put
tangent.
the finger on the point. Self-compassion, indeed. But
Yeah,
yeah, I wished we had a 24/7 live stream of us like
yeah,
speaking.
yeah.
Like
Just
I would
Jerome
love
and
to
Dee's
create a
channel.
clone of ourselves. Exactly. No, but yeah,
Let's
that's
do
everything is
AI.
connected, right? It feel yeah, it feels nerdy, but everything is connected. So when you pull a trigger, there's another one pulling. Like yeah, very interesting. So then we come to what I call the hidden third trade, what it costs you to click. So I like to say every session has three outcomes: win or loss, good or bad process, and the invisible cost to your nervous system, which we speak about every single Wednesday. So you might have walked away green, but inside you just burn 600 calories in pure cortisol and 200 calories in cognitive strain. Okay. So that headache, that craving for sugar, that compulsive behavior, that tightness in your shoulders that won't release, perhaps that came from that. Perhaps that's your body keeping the trade open. And the
Good
market will
point.
punish you tomorrow for what your nervous system couldn't close today. It's like relationships. When we have breakups, we cannot close the nervous system, right? So you get stuck into this mindset, right? And so that's what we use in therapy. We don't use the hidden third trade in therapy for relationships, right? But you got the point. That would be hilarious, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny.
So then, oh, this is a big one. Yeah, the pre-trade index. So measure before you act. Sorry if it's yes small. It was a big slide. Could have done two of them. So you check the setup, but do you check yourself? Okay, the market doesn't care how clean your chart or your plan is. If the operator, we talked about the operator previously, is tilted. So most bad trades don't come from bad systems. They could come from a bad tweet, but they come from entering with a nervous system that isn't ready. So before you click, scan the three layers that trade with you: mind, body, and intent. So clarity is quiet. Noise is your first red flag. So ask yourself, am I calm or is there noise in my head? So if you're thinking about the last trade, the P&L, or proving something, you're not neutral. If you hear tension in your inner voice, pause. Okay, don't be shy. It's okay. Just pause. You'll have another opportunity. Then you come to the body. The nervous system decides the outcome before you ever click. If you've been with us previously, you know it. So, am I in a position of readiness or reaction? Emotional reaction, of course. So, scan your jaw, hands, breath, shoulders, heartbeat, body posture, tight, twitchy, anxious, heart fast. Then you're not ready. Move, breathe, compress, release, reset the body, or your body will trade for you. And then you come to the intent, the third layer. If you need the trade to feel okay, then it will never be enough, my friend. Ask yourself, do I want this trade or do I need it? Wanting means it fits the plan, and needing means you're trying to feel whole in your ego, perhaps in your session, in your performance scorecard, in your P&L, perhaps. So then you come to the final check. what I use. So if I pass 3 out of 3, then I proceed with execution. That means I am calm and present. If I pass 2 out of 3, then I slow down, I step back, I breathe, and I check again. Perhaps a minute later, I will pass 3 out of 3, but I take this moment. Oh, and then if you pass 1 or 0, then pause. You're about to betray your edge. Okay, you're about to make most likely a mistake, at least in your process. So just step back. So do you have a pre-trade index, Coach Deeyana?
Oh yes, I'm pretty known. Sorry, so Bernard was going to bark at the window, so I invited him to come and join us so that he's less bored, and now
Beautiful.
he's knocking my face off. Bernie, I know you like the camera, but dude, I just need to answer this question. So the pre-check index that I have first starts with an emotional state. Did I sleep well? Did I do the due diligence on the higher time frames? And did I figure out what the open sentiment is? Where's VWAP? Like a whole bunch of technical stuff in there, because I'm a very data-driven trader. But everything literally just starts with me figuring out whether I'm actually in a state to trade at all, right? Sometimes you have anxiety, like you pointed out, in the other areas of your life. And that's immediately going to put you into a bit of an anxious state. But the reason why I don't really trade that early, so I always wait for at least 30 minutes to pass, maybe sometimes even a full hour, it's because I don't feel like I have enough data to make a good decision. So rather than looking for trades, I look for understanding what's in front of me and what the intention of either the market makers are, what is the type of a setup. I have about 5 core playbooks, and until I get a very obvious clue of what they're trying to do with it, I will stay out. Now, that doesn't guarantee that I will always be right on the trade, far from it, but it does provide me with a systematic framework that makes me follow a certain process. And I've done that now in the same way probably for about 8-9 years, but it took me an additional 8 years before then to actually develop that process. It wasn't easy. It was like half an
Wow.
age to actually get there.
No, beautiful. But you have a very solid index now. You have a
Yeah,
very solid prep.
yeah, to the
Beautiful.
point that I
Thank you for
don't
sharing.
even I don't have to have it in front of me, but I do. I always have like my 5 playbooks in my head. So it's like, which one is this? And if my chart is telling me that I can't really fit any of those playbooks into whatever I see in front of me, I will stay out, because I'm like, no, this is not good market conditions for me.
Beautiful. Beautiful discipline. Thank you. Um, so now we'll speak about recovery. So recovery in therapy and recovery in trading has common points. And recovery is, before everything, a nervous system decision, not a clock. Why do I say that? Because people usually think about recovery is connected to time, and they say just wait till tomorrow. Night is a good canceller, we say. So that is advice for people who think recovery is about time, but it's not. It's about state, right? Because your brain doesn't bounce back because you slept. Okay, it bounces back when you've processed the meaning and discharged the charge. Because trauma is sticky, even micro trauma. So we've spoke about trauma previously, outside of trading and inside of trading. These sessions are not therapy consultations, which I would love to do anyway, but these are not medical advices. But we speak about markets, and markets have a perfect memory for unprocessed pain. They will make you remember your trauma only if you remember them. That is the trick part. So try this instead. What meaning did I attach to that loss? Because you are printing memory, emotional memory. What loop is still playing in my head? I am fixing, I am sticking to the FOMO, I am in fear. I am rebuilding. What is the state I am in? I am hesitating. So what does my body need to feel complete? Not my PNL, not my mind, my body. What does my body need to feel complete? Perhaps my body needs swimming. Then go and swim, right? Why don't you go and swim? So recovery isn't about avoiding the market. It's about returning as someone new, right? I took 3 months of break. That's what I felt I needed. I came back. Uh, wasn't the right moment instantly, but eventually it led me to becoming profitable. But it took like a very long time.
Mm.
And in therapy and for trading, reset doesn't start when you step away. It starts when you rewrite what the moment meant. Uh, it's completely different, but when we announce a diagnosis, okay, it's always a hard moment for both parties, for the professional, healthcare professional, and the patient and the family of the patient, of course. So we use these concepts. We use this concept as the disease, the pathology doesn't define your being, doesn't define your life. It's not the end. So we help them rewrite the understanding, the absorption, the acceptation of the announcement. So in trading, it's the same. It's just different layers, different forms, different setups, but it's exactly the same. Recovery comes from the mind first. So this slide is if you feel you get attached too fast, too deep, too powerful after a trade or a session. So you made one mistake, for example, but now your brain is rewriting this story, not you, your brain. Okay. So you start think. So remember, if the voice in your head is you, who's the one listening to it? So you start hearing, I messed up. And then this becomes, oh, I always do this. And this becomes, I'm a loser. And then this becomes, I'm not built for this. And then this becomes, I quit. And
Hardeep,
that's not,
this is what you were asking about in the beginning.
thank you. Yeah, Hardeep, by the way, yeah, if what we've been sharing today helped your question, please say so. And if it didn't or partially, please say so as well. Thank you, D. Um, so that's not analysis. That's what we call neuroassociation on autopilot. Shame, we've been through the concept of shame in our previous sessions. So shame collapses everything you have built into a single moment. And forget about trading. Shame in life is exactly the same. When you're ashamed in public, you're like frozen. You're like, oh damn, like I want to get in my bed and nobody sees me ever until the end of my life, right?
I think musicians don't really suffer much from that. Because we're generally embarrassing people, you know, so it comes with the territory, I think. Being a musician or doing anything in the public eye that will expose you to, you know, being scrutinized by other people, it does take away the oh, I'm ashamed, or, you know, you just stop worrying about it, or you never had it in the first place, you know, one of the other. So shame is not, it's not a it's just inside yourself. Nobody else cares. Just remember that. That's
Exactly,
what
completely.
I've learned over time.
Completely. Yeah. And your brain rewires in seconds,
Yeah.
and shame as well, unless you act, unless you intervene. So catch it fast and talk it down. Catch it fast, talk it down. Okay. Don't reject it. Welcome it, talk it down, sit down, talk down, you know? So that was one moment, not my identity. That's something you could tell to yourself. Or my process is bigger than one impulse. Are you defined by the impulse? Uh, I lost. A loss is real. But are you a loser? I am a loser. No, you lost. I lost. Do you identify as the event? I am a loser, yes or no? That is the question. So identity doesn't come from wins, it comes from what you refuse to let define you.
Yeah, in
And
one of the previous slides, you said, okay, I made a mistake, but don't call yourself a loser. Just say, all right, that was a mistake. Let's learn from it. That's a much nicer way to be kind to yourself and to turn a negative experience or mistake into a positive experience that will help you with your identity shift in the future. So again, it all comes back to how we talk to ourselves, how self-aware we are, and Bernard agrees. All
Exactly.
right.
Do you think
Yeah.
like a
Yeah. Go.
runner?
Yeah.
I was finding an example. 100 meters runner, a fleet runner, that always wins and ends up second. Do you think? What do you think about these two scenarios? First scenario, oh, I lost, I'm a loser. Second scenario, oh, I did second. This is great. Why didn't I get the first place? Congratulations to the first one. What happened? And you'll realize that perhaps the third footstep you put in wasn't as powerful as usual. You dissect the process.
You
You don't focus on
dissect. Yeah.
the outcome.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
focus on the process, and that's exactly it. So yeah, we're coming almost to the end. Again, we've done it. So uh, I like to say emotional volatility is bigger than market volatility. The question is, which one are you really trading? So you're not just trading an instrument, you're trading your ability to hold discomfort. So whether you are in a win or a lose, you're trading your ability to hold discomfort. So do you cut winners quickly? You might have difficulty holding discomfort. Do you hold losers too long? You might have difficulty to hold discomfort. So that
Yeah.
setup was good, but could you sit in the heat long enough to let it work? Perhaps you put the trade on, it went red instantly, not stopped, but you're like, oh, I'm cutting this. Well, perhaps it was timing, but the trade is still valid. Most traders don't lose because they're wrong. Remember it. They lose because they couldn't handle being right for long enough. Remember, ego, we want to be right. And so your exits aren't strategy, they are your nervous system tapping out. So audit it honestly. Why did I close? What part of me felt unsafe holding it? When you miss a win, was it structure or emotion? When you close too early, win or lose, green or red, was it risk or anxiety? Because if you can't stay in the pain of profit or heat drawdown, you will always outsource your edge to emotion, always. So build,
I like that.
construct the capacity to stay even when it burns. It burns. Yeah, it's going to get better with time. That's where real money lives. What do you think about it, Coach
Oh, I
Diana?
love it. I mean, I'm somebody who's trained myself to hold trades for a long, long time. And I have the average, my average winners go anywhere from 45 minutes up to sort of like 85 minutes. That's the average, right? So obviously sometimes I hold it much longer. And when the trade starts to torture me, as I like to call it, it's usually because it moved away from my entry and then we run into a quieter period. And sometimes I sit there and start watching it. And then, half an hour goes by, 45 minutes goes by, an hour goes by, and then I just think to myself, what am I doing just sitting here and watching it? Like, I'm not going to close it anyway. It's in profit. And then I typically go and do a dog walk. Because it's like, what? It's just stopping my mental capital. It's not going to do anything up until the next day or next day trading time zone, which is something that is a concept that I have based on market behavior and volumes, or whether it's lunchtime, whether it's the open, whether it's whatever. But yeah, I kind of partial my trade into day trading time zones, and that means if I get stuck in a trade that I'm planning as a swing, but we run into the quieter period, I shouldn't watch it. And I know this. I know this very well. But sometimes, maybe I'm doing something else, and then I'm like, oh, let me watch it. And then I'm watching it, and I'm watching it. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, just torturing myself, never mind, the trade. But I am very aware of that. And I am a huge proponent of holding the right kind of trades to catch a big part of the move. I'm not traditionally a scalper. I will, do a scalp here and there, but it's not what I default to. I look for opportunities that are going to bring me, at least 160 ticks, maybe 70 outside of the volatility, because now, everything is expanded. But generally, I look for 2R multiples on my trades, almost like do or die. I will commit to the risk because it is controlled. So even if it loses, I honestly don't care at this point. I'm like, it's a controlled loss. The setup was valid. When the invalid point got smashed through, the trade is no longer valid. So, I shouldn't be chasing it. And then I wait. I'm very good at that. I'm very good at kind of regulating myself. But at the same time, what is my biggest strength? It's also my weakness, so to speak, because I have been known to hold trades too long. And I'm like, is this turning around? Nah, let's just give it another 30 minutes. And then, you're staring at a candle against your trade and you're like, you know what? This could be a range. Let me just hold it again. And then it goes into a mean reversion. I'm like, oops, okay, let's just take it at 1R. But I had like 3R at one point. So that's kind of something that I'm still working on to this day. Finding a good early exit that will still enable me to capture the big part of that move, and then recognizing when the trade is turning against me. There is a time of day component there as well, so I do use that to my advantage. And when I'm at the top of my game, that doesn't happen. But as soon as I'm a little bit off, like with this move and stuff, there's been a lot of anxiety, a lot of disruptions, a lot of solicitor calls and, problems here, there, and everywhere. So that is disruptive. And I found that while I'm still controlling myself well, I kind of drop the ball every so often. Not for very long, but I'm just like, oh, could have managed that a little bit better. But I don't over dramatize it. I have a defined process, and even if I mess up a date, that is certainly not going to define any identity that I have about myself. However, again, I will remind people that doesn't come overnight. It is something that is practiced over time, and it's practiced every single day until the energy pathways that you create during those sorts of activities of self-awareness and comparing the self-awareness with the process that you're trying to achieve, eventually those energy pathways get efficient, right? So at first everything's difficult. You're uncomfortable holding a trade. Well, boo-hoo, let's just deal with it. I always like to say to my traders, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that is the definition of trading. A lot of discomfort along the way. And we had to learn to conquer it. We had to learn to be okay with it as long as the process is in place. That's also why I'm not in favor of people moving stops to break even until they've had, hundreds of trades as a sample size to actually see whether the edge can be actually improved by moving stops to break even at some point. But most people do it to avoid pain. They're not controlling risk, they're just avoiding the discomfort. And that's my main problem with it.
Thank you. You said it beautifully. It's like be comfortable with discomfort. It's the golden rule in change. Whatever you want to change, your brain is gonna make you feel discomfort. So be comfortable with that. That was beautiful. By the way, chat, can we hit the like button for having a beautiful and wonderful host like Coach Deeyana, who is always sharing great examples and making links with the content we share here. And I personally love that. The chat love that. So yeah, hit the like button for Neuro Wednesday and Coach Deeyana, please.
And for Jerome as well. You're the one bringing us all this beautiful knowledge and awareness of what we should be doing. So hit the like, guys. I'm terrible at audience interaction. I always say that, always forget it. But yeah, give us some love.
Me too. I follow the slides, but Frank Anderson and perhaps something else. Don't recall the message. Sorry about that. But thank you guys for showing love, appreciating the love and the appreciation you guys express. So we love being with you here, and we love the feedback, and so that's why we keep doing it. So
And I'll
That's
just
the
remind,
last one. Yeah.
I'll just remind people, it's not the heart next to the chat.
Yes, it's the
It's the
thumb.
thumbs up underneath the video. I always see that. It's so funny.
There's a rain of hearts. People are hitting
Yeah,
hearts.
rain of hearts. It's like, we love it. It's like, great, but can we do it
We
for
love
the
you too.
actual engagement on on the video? We love you too, guys, but I know that the hearts are awesome. But yeah, please make sure to click the thumbs up. The
That's right.
thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah, click once.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes. Click
So,
what? We got buried the brain?
yeah, we'll end up before Barry with this slide. So from urgency to curiosity, we've often spoke about that. So reactivity starts with urgency, and presence starts with curiosity. So urgency says, do something fast now, quick. And curiosity says, wait, what's really going on here? Like sit down, urgency, like let me speak. So one contracts the mind and the other opens perception. So when you act from urgency, you're not thinking, you're reacting. But when you ask before you act, you give the brain back to yourself. So you react. Oh, sorry, that's the first Wednesday of the month with the alarm.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So guys, yeah,
We
in
know the drill.
France, every first Wednesday of the month, there's this alarm. So you think there's a nuke attack in town, but there's not. It's just the first Wednesday of the
Is
month.
that just in Lyon or is it France?
I think it's in Lyon, actually. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
other French people who can tell me if it's in other cities. Actually, I live in
Yeah,
Lyon,
because
so I don't.
we've been to France, south of France in particular, many times, and we were in this little village south of Bordeaux as well. I don't remember the Wednesday thing, so I think it's a Lyon thing.
It's,
Definitely.
it's that's funny. Yeah, sorry about that if it's a big noise. So
No, it's we can barely hear it. It's fine.
wonderful. So curiosity quiets every cities. Yeah. So thanks, Bruno.
Oh,
So
okay.
curiosity quiets the limbic system and gives limbic system, emotional system in the brain, and gives your prefrontal cortex, so cognitive zone, room to access. And then you can say, what's the story I'm telling myself about this setup, this chart, this plan, this process? Where is this urgency coming from? What do I want from this trait? And what would the observer version of me see? And that's how you can build your path from urgency to curiosity. And that was for Barry the Brain. So thank you for this session. Hope it was enlightful again. Before going through the Q&A, if you guys want to, I prepared a visualization. So again, I thought I would finish early, but okay, we finished in
Don't
time.
worry about
So
it. It's
if
fine.
you want, we can do it. We can do it. It's like 8 to 10 minutes, and then have the Q&A.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the visualization.
Okay, great. So it's a sort of from chaos to clarity sort of visualization. Try to build a narrative that would help people if they want to replay the session, to have a guided sort of practice that could help them access to a place of clarity, of calm, perhaps presence, not instantly, but with guidance, and when we don't have guidance, usually we are kind of lost. So that could perhaps help you. So again, as the last time we did a visualization exercise, perhaps it's not for you, perhaps the practice will not have any effect on you, perhaps you will practice this guidance for 8 days and it will have an effect only on the eighth day, and perhaps you will practice it for 20 days and it will not have effect, which I very much doubt, by the way. But yeah, it's not a magic pill, it's not a magic tool, it's a practice we want to share today. If you want to do it, please feel free to do so. Feel free to follow the guidance as much as possible. Stay cool, stay smooth. And if you don't want to practice it, or if you don't agree, or if you don't believe it has effects, please respect people who do. Respect us, and let's go. So if you want, you can just sit down, close your eyes if you want to. It's better. This visualization will be like a reset of self-awareness. So let the surface underneath you, beneath you, hold your body fully, whether it's a chair, a bed, a mat. No need to brace, no need to perform. Just be. Rest your hands wherever they land naturally. Your legs, your desk, your table, in the air, whatever it feels natural and comfortable for you, and give your shoulders the right to drop. Just inhale and exhale, and let your shoulders drop a bit more. And then you can take a long inhale through your nose and exhale, letting it go, like slow. You can feel the air is warm and quiet, and you can just like inhale and exhale again, just to return. We have nothing to fix. We're just getting in. So now I want to picture a sort of canvas bag, okay? A bag at your feet, a canvas bag, a bag you didn't realize you've been carrying all day, maybe all week, maybe longer. And you feel it generated a pain on your back, on your shoulders. And when you open the bag, inside it, there are stones, okay? Each one shaped differently, like a moment. Some are sharp, some are big, some are small, some are lighter, some are heavier, some smooth. They could be all heavy. Just pick one up and feel it in your hand. This could be a failed trade, for example. This could be a past trauma. This could be a breakup. This could be a shame spiral. This could be a voice that said, see, you'll never make it. The thing is, you don't need to solve it. You just need to stop carrying it in this bag. So I invite you to inhale, and as you exhale, to place this stone on the ground next to the bag. And then you can repeat. You can take a stone that you are able to carry, and you take it again, you watch it. This is shaped like something else, a different moment, perhaps pleasant, perhaps unpleasant. And then again, this doesn't define you. This is a stone you don't need to carry again, and you just need to stop carrying it. And you place it on the ground. You inhale calmly, and as you exhale, you place it on the ground. And you don't erase, you release. And perhaps in the bag, there are bigger stones you think you are unable to carry, but guess what? You have powers you don't think about. So you can quickly take these bigger stones, watch them, understand that you can carry them. Wow, I can hold this stone. And then you inhale, you exhale, you watch this stone again, whatever it represents, you smile, and you place it on the ground. And then at some point, however big your bag was, at some point your bag ends up empty. So you feel lighter. And now you step forward and you end up in a long corridor. The floor is quiet. It's soft. It's steady, plain. And on either side, on both sides of the corridor, you have paintings, you have framed scenes from your past. Some are small, almost forgotten, and some are big. They are loud, almost too loud. And so these framed elements, they can represent several things. They can represent a missed opportunity. They can represent a betrayal. They can represent a childhood voice. They can represent the trait that broke something inside. Or they can also represent the moment no one believed in you. But you don't flinch. You don't turn away. You just breathe. You inhale and you walk slowly and just watch to the left, to the right, and you witness. These scenes, these aren't here to haunt you. They are here to remind you you are still standing. You are there. You have no judgment. You have just acknowledgement. You recognize. So with each step in this corridor, you become every step a little less fused, connected to the scenes, and a little more here, present. And you end up at the end of the corridor, and there's a door that is unmarked, quiet, still, and you can open it. You open it, and you enter. You enter in a room that is not light, that is not dark. It's something else. It looks like a holding space, a sort of neural chamber between what was and what can be. This is where old selves unhook and new ones begin forming. So in this room, you absolutely don't need to do anything here. You just let yourself be seen by the one who's already waiting. Who is this one already waiting? This is your future self. You can feel them before you see them. They walk into this room. They have the same eyes, the same face, but something is unmistakably different. You can see their spine is relaxed, but their presence feels like a mountain. They have no panic, no scramble, no rush. They are calm. In terms of trading, they have seen the volatility, they've ridden the drawdowns, they've heard all the inner critics, and they stayed. This is not your ideal self. This is not your perfect self. This is your earned self. This is the one you earned being. This self don't promise you wins. It promises you consistency of state, even in chaos. They could say, you've mistaken survival for skill. But this regulation, this poise, this is the real edge. Your ability to step back, this is your real edge. So then you are in this room and your future self, they move closer. And then they start placing a hand on your shoulder, whether it's the left or right shoulder. And they tell you, stop trying to prove you're not broken. You're not. You are under construction. And you're further along than you think. And then silence. You don't hear anything else. And you realize they're not some distant version. This is you. They've been inside you all along. Just deeply buried under urgency, noise, and all these things. And once you feel the hand lift, but something stays. Something. Looks like stillness, looks like strength, but without tension. You feel or might feel calm, but without detachment. You might feel clarity, and that doesn't need a reason. So you take one last inhale, a deep inhale, and then you let the version of you in that room you invite this version to walk beside you now. And you take a final look at the corridor behind you. You step forward into this moment. You could feel lighter, steadier. You could feel more you. You step forward, and whenever you're ready, you can take a deep inhale, wiggle your fingers, roll your shoulders, and just bring awareness back to your body, back to the space around you, and gently open your eyes whenever you feel ready. And thank you for following us.
Wow, okay. So, is it bad that I was imagining the rocks thrown off the hill and breaking?
No, that's very interesting. That could that would be psychoanalysis, but that could mean a lot of things. Could you identify the bag in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you able
and
to hold rocks?
Yeah, I was able to hold them. And as you said, I tried putting them on the floor, but somehow I felt, they're still there. And obviously I connected the certain events that I found maybe not too traumatic, but reasonably traumatic, that I would like to forget about. And then I thought to myself, it's not enough that it's on the floor. I want to never carry this again. And then I imagined myself taking the rock and throwing it off a cliff, effectively.
This is beautiful. Like, you needed that. You needed to throw him. Like, you couldn't get rid with the fact that, oh, they are not in the bag anymore. They are on the ground, but I'm not good with that.
Yeah. What does that tell you?
It's not bad. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. How about the practice overall? How did you find it?
The second part I found very calming. I think that some of the struggles that I've had in my life with people around me, I think I'm over that at this point, because it's been so many years since we got, since I got to a certain stage in my life, and I think about 10 years ago or so, even my father, who was not very happy with me going into trading because I was a musician, he was a musician, and he kind of felt like he was almost, I was almost going against his wishes or whatever, and he found it very difficult to understand why I moved away from my previous career. But I was, I was okay with that because it was my decision, and I'm the kind of person that where I don't allow other people to think for me, if that makes sense. Like, if I want to do something in life, I'm going to do it. Like, nothing's going to stop me. So the part of walking through the hallway, I actually felt very at peace, because I feel like I'm already there, right? I'm not exactly a young person. I've been trading for 18 years, and I had to deal with a lot of stuff along the way. But I don't think that was one of the issues. Like, just kind of quieting the noise around me and people, and the naysayers and whatever. That it was never my conflict, if that makes sense. So as I was walking through the hallway, I almost felt joy and achievement in, I suppose, breaking through the norms and what was expected of me as a person. So once I walked into the room, I almost felt, okay, well, maybe there are still some things that I need to work on, but overall me, and like you said, that future version of me can only get better, right? And we're not that far apart at all. I really hold that to be true in my head. Maybe I'm delusional, I don't know, but yeah, I felt that, that part was very, very peaceful and calming for me. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, for the people in chat sharing their opinions. Love that. For some people, it helped a lot.
Crazy Horse says, my bag was weed. I got a lot of chat, man. They always have fun.
Have you been able to go into the corridor then, or?
Yeah. Were you in the corridor, Crazy Horse? With or without the weed? That's what we want to know.
Exactly, but yeah, hope it helped people. Joshua said, visualizing my future self or visiting my past self always makes me tear up. So, and thanks
Oh,
for guiding us through that, for
yeah,
making the space for it. So, yeah, thank you. To tear up, but
that's
hope
amazing.
this
That's
was
beautiful.
helpful.
And I will say that a lot of the visualizations, I do find that some of them really hit home, and you do feel like you need to have a little cry about it. I think I had one when I can't remember which one we were doing, but I almost cried. I was like tearing up and stuff, and I was like, "Dee, don't cry on the stream. Don't be that person." But yeah, it really got to me, so I can fully understand that, Joshua. We have
Interesting.
a
I have a
question
question.
here.
Would you
Yep.
guys like a longer, deeper, that doesn't necessarily means more powerful, but making a longer, we can make a deeper sort of exercise. And next week, we could do a practice that could help you more in life outside of trading. So we could do it if you guys want it, if you're interested. That would be a more 20-30 minute practice. But yeah, if you guys want to do it, we can do this next week as well.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Um, yeah, so people like that
Okay.
idea. Yeah, cool,
Okay, then perfect. We'll
lovely.
do this. We're gonna build something great. We're
Yeah,
gonna do something
all right.
crazy.
That was very relaxing. I'm almost like yeah. So let's just let's just hang.
Yeah,
Is
you can feel sleepy also when we feel
no,
relaxed. We feel kind of, yeah. I'll take a nap now, but that's
yeah,
that's what relaxed means.
yeah. But I
'Cause
don't want to take a
somebody said
nap.
I really slept in right now,
Yeah.
so power was out, so I stayed up until.
Oh, trading nickels. Yeah. That's bad. A lot of people are having power outages. I don't know what's up with that. Like
Yeah,
a
it
few people
happened
have
to me
told
the
me.
last 2 days. So
Yeah,
hopefully, luckily, I wasn't into a trade. But in France, there's been like huge rains, like a storm, and
right.
like power outage plus the Spain Portugal thing. Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
hard times.
difficult. I always have a few backup systems in case I am in a trade and something happens. It doesn't happen that often, but I used to have problems with my internet provider before I got the new one. I just got Starlink for the new place, so I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know how that's gonna be, but hopefully it's gonna be okay because it's a business one. So let's hope I'm not gonna have too many problems with the streams. We'll
Oh,
find
that's what you
out
said
next week.
yesterday. Yeah, that's what you
Yeah,
mentioned yesterday. I remember.
yeah. All
Hope
right,
it.
so we've come to the end. Jerome, do you have any final words for us before we sign off? Obviously, this
Um,
was an amazing session.
Thank you as always. Thank God. Thank life for breathing and living another day. Love yourself and love the people who love you, and take care of.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna put the Discord link where you'll be able to find these slides in the channel on Topstep Discord, trading dash psychology. So they will be uploaded there by our lovely moderator Bruno. And that's it. That brings us to the end of the stream. Thank you so much for being here with us. We will continue to do the Neuro Wednesdays, as always, with Jerome, and try to build your self awareness and your emotional resilience over time so that we can all progress together and, get you to that point in life where you have more resources and trading is not a stressful activity anymore, right?
Exactly.
That's it. Jerome and I are going to sign off. This has been the Euro Trade, in particular Euro Wednesday on TopstepTV. I'm Marcus Oka D. This is Dr. Jerome,
Thank you
and we
very
wish
much.
you a beautiful day. You will see me later on Fast Markets, but for now, this is all we've got for you. Have a lovely day. Take care.
Let's go.